Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Finally, guys, finally. I've waited 45 years for this moment. 45 years for an actual, legitimate, really good sequel to the Alien franchise. Well, you know, I'm saying 45 years, but we're taking like Aliens, which I guess came out in, what was it, 1984? I think it was 1984. I'm not editing this video, so I can't. Editor Tony does not exist in this video, so someone just correct me in the comments. But it's been a long time. It's been a long time. We have not gotten such a great Alien sequel since Aliens. This is the true follow-up to Aliens. Throw out Alien 3, throw out Alien Resurrection, Alien v Predator, throw out Prometheus, throw out Alien Covenant, throw it all out. We don't need it anymore. We got Alien Romulus. And right off the bat, I really do love this movie. I think I've said this like a long time ago, 12 years actually, because that's when I reviewed the first Alien on my old channel, The Black Anime Guy. Talk about a callback. I talked about Alien on that old channel, and I said at the time that I preferred Alien over Aliens. Yes, Aliens was more action-packed. Yes, Aliens was more visually spectacular. And if you're an action junkie, it appeased you. It filled your taste buds with what exactly you wanted. But for me, what I thought the Alien franchise was all about was horror, suspense, thriller. Horror, suspense, thriller, not action set pieces. This is what Prometheus and Alien Covenant failed to understand about the Alien franchise, despite the fact that both films were directed by the original director of Alien, Ridley Scott. How did he forget the true essence of what made Alien so amazing? It was the buildup. It was the tension building. It was the fear of what's behind the corner, what's behind me, what's above me, what's below me. Where the hell is this thing? And that's exactly what Alien Romulus made me feel like. Because I was literally on the edge of my seat. Because at any point, at any given moment, not only could the alien pop out, but the freaking, like, facehuggers. They were actually the biggest threat for, like, 1/3 of this film. And it was crazy. I was like, for the first time, facehuggers. Facehuggers were scary. Look, they're a good jump scare. And they're basically built for just one thing and one thing only. But I never really found them scary until I saw Alien Romulus. Now I'm scared of them. Jesus, I can't sing this film's praises enough. Shout out to Fede Alvarez, who once again has taken another old franchise and brought some much needed life back into it. He did it with Evil Dead. And now here he is doing it with the Alien franchise. And I've always been a big supporter of Fede Alvarez. I do like him as a director-writer. I think he's a strong director-writer, particularly with horror suspense. One of my favorite movies from him was Don't Breathe. That's the film about those three idiots that break into a blind guy's house and realize, wow, this blind guy really, he's a superpower being. Like, what's going on here, right? And they have to find a way to get out of his house without alerting him. So they have to not breathe and have to be quiet, right? So I'm delighted to talk about this film. So what is the film about? Well, basically put, it actually takes place after the incident with the Nostromo. I don't know if this actually takes place after the events of Aliens. It might, but I think really canonically speaking, they're focusing on the first Alien. This is a follow-up, more or less, a spiritual successor to the first Alien. And rightfully so. It follows a lot of the same beats. And don't worry, I'll get there later. But it takes place on this planet that has been terraformed by the Weyland-Yutani Corporation, and it's used as a mine factory. And it's a pretty shitty place to live. We follow this one girl and her robotic brother who live in this world, and they're trying to get off so that they could go to this other planet and live a new life. But they just keep changing the rules and changing the expectations, so now they can't leave. And it really is a frustrating situation. Until one day, or I guess a little ways after they were told they couldn't leave the planet, one of their friends hits them up like, hey, I got something for you. Come over. I want to talk to you. And they basically say, hey, there's this abandoned space station or ship up, like hovering around the planet. And we're going to go up there and see if they have like any like extra materials, tools, equipment that we could use to then fly to this other planet so we all can live a new hunky-dory life. And at first, of course, the main character's hesitant. Like, why should we go up there? What's up there? We shouldn't do that. But then she gets convinced. They all go up there. And of course, they're poking around in a place that they shouldn't have because something's in that ship that they were not aware of. And now it's a battle for survival. And they got to get off the ship before, 1, the aliens come and kill them. 2, the facehuggers implant them. Or 3, the ship is actually slowly descending into the rings of the planet, and if they don't get the fuck out of there, they're gonna get shredded to death. So there are like a multitude of threats happening, and it's up for our 6 main characters to get the fuck out of Dodge before it's all over. I mean, man, where to begin? Where do I begin talking about the praises? First off, the attention to detail. Fede Alvarez did his fucking homework. He did his fucking homework. Every single thing in this film, you could tell it was made with care and attention to detail, understanding of the lore, understanding of what made the first Alien great. I mean, first off, the technology, damn near identical to the 1979 film. Damn near. I mean, from the old looking computers to the just the overall looks of the ships themselves, they don't look like sleek and new like how they did in Prometheus and in Alien Covenant. They look like they were straight. It literally felt like a continuation of the 1979 film. Like they literally did the same thing. And I'm like, that's amazing. That was one attention to detail. Another one is, just like the first film, you could almost say he did references in this film that were appropriate for the movie he was making, and they didn't feel so tacked on. Like it was a studio note that it has to be this, it has to be this. Now, there are some references. I'll get to those later, I promise. There were some references that I do feel like, okay, that felt a little bit shoehorned in. That one felt really forced. You didn't have to throw that in. But for the most part, a lot of the homages, the references to Alien, it felt very natural. Like the fact that the characters that we follow, 6. 3 boys, 3 girls. Just like in the first film. 3 boys, 3 girls. One of which happens to be a robot. Just like in the first film. And again, it follows a lot of the same beats as Alien. You know, they stumble into a place that really they should not have gone into. The facehuggers are coming to attack them. One of them gets impregnated. There's a gruesome scene where the alien bursts out of the chest and now is running around and, you know, about to come and basically grab them and kill them. And it's a fight for survival. Not only that, but even the cinematography and the lighting mirrors the 1979 film. Mirrors it. Heavy, dark shadows. Bright, yellow lights. Like the contrast between the light and the dark. I mean, I almost felt like I was watching the original Alien. Like Ridley Scott came from 1979, like jumped into a time machine and came to 2023 and filmed Alien Romulus. That's how much I felt like it was literally just like Alien. Now, some people might say, well, that means that this film doesn't have its own voice. Like, it's just a carbon copy. And I don't really think it's a carbon copy. Yes, it does follow a lot of the same beats. From beginning to end, I would say. It follows a lot of the same beats. But I feel as though those beats, they were necessary for this story. As much as they are technically references. I liked it. And I will also say that the story, you know what's funny about the story? I was telling my aunties, because they watched the movie with me. I was telling my aunties, you know what this film, the story reminds me of? It reminds me of Don't Breathe. They're basically the same premise if you think about it. It's Don't Breathe with an alien paint job. Because what's the premise of Don't Breathe? A bunch of young individuals break into a place that they shouldn't have broke into, and now they have to fight for their lives and find a way to get the fuck out of there. What is the premise of Alien Romulus? A bunch of young people decide to break into a place that they really should not have broken into, and now they have to fight for survival and get the fuck out of there. That's literally the premise of both films. It's just that one film's a little longer, one film's a little bigger, like the land is a little bigger, and the threat is a lot more dangerous than an old man that's blind and has super hearing and, is hunting them down. So, but it's basically the same movie. It's the same premise. And I guess that's why Fede Alvarez was like, he was on his A game, because he's like, I made this film before. It was called Don't Breathe, just without the aliens, right? Ah, man. And the acting. I'm so happy. I'm ecstatic that they casted literally a bunch of unknowns. I have never seen any of these actors before. Not a single one of them do I recognize from other films. Now, they may have been in other films, but I personally did not recognize a single one of them. And I love that. I have no idea who these actors are, because they finally did the one thing I've been begging them to do, which is stop hiring these big name actors to be in an alien film. Get a bunch of unknowns, just like in the original. Because that's one of the charms about the original. These were a bunch of unknown actors, untested actors that took on a franchise, or not, it wasn't a franchise, but took on this horror film, and they did it in flying colors. And I thought the acting was superb all around. Yeah, there were some characters I'm not too fond of. There was this one Dick character, like he's just really, really hates synthetic organisms, and he really pokes at the main character, the lead female's robotic brother. And of course, there's a tragic backstory to why he doesn't like synthetic organisms. I get it. You're gonna need a Dick character in this film, kind of. He needs to be the guy that kind of ruins everything for everyone. But I don't know. I always hated that trope. I mean, the original didn't have like a Dick character besides maybe the robot, but I don't know. I guess they wanted to be just a little different. And maybe Fede Alvarez just likes Dick characters, because in freaking Don't Breathe, there was a Dick character. In his remake of The Evil Dead, there was a Dick character. A lot of his films have Dick characters, I guess. It's like his signature. I need to throw in a Dick character. Visually speaking, this film looks amazing. I already talked about how the lighting and the cinematography look great, but even the visuals, like, oh my God. Again, the attention to detail is immaculate. I'm so delighted. The way that the alien is shot, holy shit. I have not felt horror in an alien film since the first Alien. I have never felt this terrified. I was on the edge of my seat scared. In an alien film. You know how long it's been since I've had that sense of dread? Like, oh my God, where is this alien? Is it just one alien? Are there more? What's happening in here? I am terrified. Legitimately. What's happening? And I love that. I love that, honestly. Well, I mean, yeah, it's just a good movie. I do want to talk about some of the things that did bother me. One of my biggest problems in the film was nearing the third act. They kept shoehorning in these references that I felt really weren't necessary, and they just felt like forced callbacks. Like, there's this one scene where this one character kills an alien, like, he stopped an alien from attacking one of the girls, right? And he goes, "Get off of her, you bitch." No, I'm like, I know that's kind of what the character is like when that's their speech pattern, but it almost felt like even the actor was like, do I really have to say this shit? This feels really forced. Then there's also this one callback to the first film, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the callback. I was just like, not necessary, bro. I will say, I did praise the visuals, but there is some instances where the visuals are just not good. Particularly, there's this one CGI character. Why, Phil? Why? You didn't have to do that. You really didn't have to. You didn't. And it looked awful. It looked like a 3D model from a PS2 game. It looked awful. It actually looks like a character from Heavy Rain. Sean! Like, the mouth looked so awkward. The face looked so digitized. It looked like CGI slop. It looked like CGI slop. And I honestly felt like it was a little disrespectful, considering what that character was and what has happened to the person that played that character. Like, why would you do that? That was disgusting. It was disrespectful. It was disgraceful. You should have never done that. And if you were going to do it, you really couldn't do better CGI than that. They look atrocious. Like complete garbage, it looked like. Complete garbage. I couldn't get that out of my mind of how ugly it looked. It's disgusting. I also will say that the big reveal in the third act, I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm torn by it. I get it. It makes sense canonically a little bit, but it looked terrible. And not in the I'm scared to death. I mean, it looks terrible. My uncle joked that he looked kind of like Nikola Jokic. Kind of looked like Nikola Jokic. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. And I was kind of laughing because I'm like, yeah, he does kind of look like Nikola Jokic. I play basketball now. No, man, it looked really bad, though. It really did look bad. I also didn't like the callback at the very, very end. Like, there's no need to do a voice message, a video, or like an audio message. You just did that because, well, Alien ended off with a audio message saying this is so-and-so from the so-and-so, the last survivor of this. I don't think it was necessary. That's one of those forced callbacks. Like, come on. You didn't have to do that callback at all. All right. But overall, I loved it. It gave me exactly what I've always wanted to see in an Alien film. I have not had this since the original. Not even Aliens gave me this feeling. It didn't whet my appetite the way that Alien did. And I have always professed Alien as a franchise should always remain a horror franchise. It should never dip into action or heavy sci-fi or really like deep lore building. That's not what Alien should be. It should be horror suspense, horror thriller. And that's exactly what Alien Romulus is. Horror suspense, horror thriller, and it's very effective. I really enjoyed it. I would say I can't say that it's one hell of a film, but I will say it's worth watching. It's so much worth watching. Go check it out. Now, I'm going to talk spoilers here. If you didn't see the film, if you did not see the film, do not watch beyond this point. I'm giving you 30 seconds. Do not watch this video beyond this point if you haven't seen Alien Romulus and you don't want it ruined for you. I promise you, you don't want some of these things ruined. I swear to you. Just go watch the movie. Go watch it. Don't watch this part. Okay? Are you ready? spoilers. I'm getting into spoilers in now. I really hated that they brought back Ian Holm to play the robot character from the first film. Now, when I say bring him back, I don't obviously mean the actor, because he passed away like a couple years ago. I don't like the fact that they did a CGI rendition of the character, modulated his voice, and put him back in this film. Why did it have to be him? I get that he was like the villain in the first film, and it would make sense. There are models that look just like that character. But for me, it felt really disrespectful to the dead. It's very disrespectful to basically puppet Ian Holm into a role that he really didn't play. This is basically AI. It's CGI AI. And again, if you were going to do it, why did it have to look so shitty? It looked terrible. It'd be one thing if he looked good. He looked worse than Grand Moff Tarkin in freaking Star Wars Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Like, that CGI looks way better than this CGI. That movie came out 8 years ago. How the fuck does this one look worse? It's so disrespectful. I get, story-wise, it kind of makes sense why he's there. And even his actions, like he's supposed to be, not trustworthy. Obviously, we know this. And then they also do the callback where I can't tell you your odds, but you have my sympathy. Because that's the last thing he said in the first film before they unplugged him forever. I'm like, oh, get it? Reference. You didn't have to throw in that reference. You didn't. You really didn't. You only threw that in there because reference to first film. Only I probably got that in the whole theater. Really. And then in the third act, like, what the fuck was that thing? I get what they were going for. He's like a Trinity union between the engineers, the alien, and humans. The perfect organism. That's what they were building towards, right? I totally called it the moment that they brought a pregnant woman on board. I'm like, that baby's going to play a role in the third act, isn't he? He's going to play a role in the third act, isn't he? Sure enough, there's this like, so later, like earlier in the film, Ian Holm, the robot, is telling the black robot guy, hey, so we actually did experiments on the blood, the basic DNA of the facehugger of the alien, and we actually got out this black goo thing that can mold it into the perfect organism. It will morph the body, or it'll bring it back from death. Like they showed a video of a rat getting crushed, and then they inject it with this black goo, and then it like cracked itself back to life. But what they didn't see, because they left early, is that the blood didn't, or the black goo ended up overtaking the mouse, and killed it. It couldn't take on the transformation, so to say. And when she shot herself with that black goo, the pregnant lady, I'm like, oh, the baby's coming, and it's coming soon. I don't know about you. The minute I saw this thing, you know what I thought? Do you remember that shitty movie 14 years ago called Splice? You remember that movie? No, you probably don't remember that movie. The monster, I swear to God, looks like that creature from Splice. It's like the creature from Splice and that ugly-ass baby from Alien Resurrection, like, were morphed together to make this super hybrid alien. And it was, like, disgusting. I hated it. It looked terrible. I get why it happened. I get what they were trying to do. It still looked awful. It looked terrible. It literally looked like it was screaming for death, like it was begging someone to kill it. Put me out of my misery kind of thing, right? I will say I didn't give enough praise to the action in my non-spoiler section, but I did like some of the action set pieces. There's this really cool one where Ian Holm robot basically traps the main female lead and her brother in this chamber and says, I can't let you guys out because, you know, if I let you out, things could go wrong for me. I need to bring these specimens back. I can't afford to, you know, have you guys get in my way, right? And that's when he says the lines like, I can't tell you your chances for survival, but you have my sympathies. She had this genius idea of turning off the gravity so that all of the aliens are floating, right? And as they come towards her, as she shoots, right, their blood does not automatically fall and cause a breach, which opens up the vacuum of space. Now the blood is floating in the air. I thought that was really creative, and also makes for a very interesting obstacle scene later on when they have to get out, going through the acid blood. It was a cool visual. It was a cool scene. Very tense. I was watching it with my girlfriend. She gripped my hand while they were going through the acid blood floating in the air, because there was this one scene where the female lead was about to fall right into the blood, and then she uses her gun to basically push her down, because I actually thought she was gonna die, man. It's possible. Everyone else was dying, right? Oh man, the face huggers. Holy shit. I've not seen face huggers be that scary ever. Like, it was they go into this room where basically they froze the face huggers to keep them from basically breaking out. But unfortunately, these idiots, when they were trying to take out this one thing, they unplugged all the face huggers from being cryo frozen, and now they're starting to thaw. They're starting to get warm, and they fall into the water because there's water in this room for some reason. And dude, they're like just swimming around and jumping out. It was really intense. And I was thinking, like, who's gonna get attacked by the facehugger? Who's gonna give birth to an alien? Which one of these guys? It honestly could have been anybody at that point. It was crazy. I really liked the relationship between the female lead and her brother. I liked that at first she seemed really like annoyed and irritated, like, I don't really want to deal with him. He's kind of a burden to me now. But deep down, she still truly cares. And I love the fact that when he ends up being left back, she actually goes back for him. And like, basically, they reignite their bond with each other. I love that. Because he kind of goes through a transformation, because they take one of the memory chips from the broken Ian Holm robot and place it into the other robot, the brother robot, and it actually upgraded his entire system, and his speech changed, his demeanor changed, everything about him changed. He was no longer the brother, he was something else. He was very different. And by the way, I'm sorry I don't know their names. I know I just got out of the movie, but their names were really complicated. I just didn't remember it. And that doesn't mean that they're bad characters, I just don't remember their names. I could have looked it up before doing this video, but I wanted to do this naturally. What else? I just didn't like that third act where they're fighting the human alien engineer crossover alien. It looked bad. And then, again, speaking about callbacks, they do the exact same thing they did in the first Alien, where she's on the spaceship, she thinks she's out of harm's way, and then all of a sudden, oh, the alien was actually in there with her the whole time, and she puts on her suit, and she's like slowly trying to like figure out how she's timing it to where the alien's gonna try to attack her, and then she's gonna open up the latch so that it flies out, and then shoots him with the arrow, and then blasts him to Kingdom Come. They do a similar thing here where the main character gets into a spacesuit and then battles the alien, basically shoots him out into space and kills him. And I'm like, okay, that also felt a bit shoehorned. You didn't have to replicate, not verbatim, but it basically was the same thing, just changed a little bit, in my opinion. I didn't like that part. I'm trying to think if there's any other spoilers I want to talk about that really stand out. Because really it's the Ian Holm robot and the reveal of this engineer, alien, human, hybrid creature. That's really the big spoilers things. And I didn't like either. I didn't like either of them. I think it was extremely disrespectful to bring back the character that Ian Holm played in the original, especially because this guy has been dead for so many years now. Did they get the family's blessing to do this? I want to know. I really do, because it feels very disrespectful. And especially because they didn't even do it well. If they did it well, different story. If they did it well, different story maybe. But it wasn't well. It looked fucking terrible. Really terrible. But yeah, those are my opinions on Alien Romulus. I know I didn't do a traditional review. I'm still with my family, but I really wanted to share my thoughts on this film because I loved it. I loved just I love that it returned to its roots. It's a horror suspense thriller franchise once again. And I hope that if they do continue this franchise, they stick to that. They don't have to just redo like Aliens and make the sequel to this an action Bravo Colonial Marines callback. Don't do that. Find another way to incorporate the horror suspense elements again. You know, if you want to bring Fede Alvarez back, by all means, bring him back. But keep it there. Keep it in that little pocket of horror suspense. That's where Alien belongs. That's where it found its best success or its most success. Keep it there. You know, don't rock the boat too much. You can try new things, but don't rock the boat too much. Anywho, those are my thoughts. I'd love to know what you guys thought about Alien Romulus. Comment below, let me know. And as always, guys, if you'd like to see more videos of this channel, be a part of the Black Critter Crew, please hit that subscribe button. Like this video if you really enjoyed it. I'm Tony Watt II, shaking in his boots and super delighted that I finally have another good Alien film as the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace, YouTube.